This is Revolutionizing Recruitment with Kathleen Duffy, the art of attracting, acquiring, and retaining talent. Here's Kathleen.
Thanks for joining me once again for my conversation with Ernie Dianastasis, the founder and CEO of the Precisionists, a Delaware-based organization focused on employment for adults with disabilities. Now, Ernie, these neurodiverse candidates that we've been talking about, are they employees of TPI and then they get project managed to work, for example, at Duffy Group on an IT project?
That is correct. That's absolutely correct. We are a services company, first and foremost, and we're not a disability company. We're not a placement firm. We are a services business. So we go into major companies and put together proposals, solutions, and sign contracts and perform the work. And these individuals always start their career with the Precisionists. One of the things we do before we hire them is that we have them go through a 3-week or 4-week assessment and training program to get them workforce ready. And so, I mentioned when they come in and interview, quote interview, but they're not really interviewing. We give them a project. Mm-hmm. Our folks then determine if we believe they can do the kinds of work and projects we do. The next step is for them to go through this 3 to 4 week assessment and training program, because we have to get them workforce ready. So we're not only giving them technical skills to do the types of projects we do, but we're also giving them very important life and corporate skills. How do you work on a team? Making a presentation in front of a group, email etiquette, the do's and don'ts of being in a professional work environment. We even get into personal hygiene. We take a lot of things for granted, but if you've never been given a chance before, we have to help them on that journey to understand what they should be doing.
It's funny, I was going to ask you about the personal hygiene perspective, so I'm glad you volunteered that information because I was thinking about that too. How about, do they work at the TPI facility or are they actually embedded into the employer?
Both. We do both. We have probably half of our workforce is on the customer locations, but we still provide that leadership and coaching support and project management oversight if the contract calls for that. But we do a lot of that in our customer environments, and we also have a lot of individuals working in our innovation and technology centers that we have throughout the country, including the one we have in Phoenix. They're both important. Some individuals are ready to go into the customer location as soon as they complete their assessment and training, workforce preparation. Others actually do better by starting first in one of our facilities. And because it's, the supports can be stronger, a little more personal if they're under our roof than under the customer's roof. But they're both very effective models. The one thing we don't do, Kathleen, is they're not at home. We don't believe in the work at home model. In fact, these folks have spent enough time at home for most of their adult lives. This is about assimilating into society, building relationships, making some friendships with colleagues at work, understanding what it means to, get up every day, get dressed and get to work on time. I mean, just really, really important stuff, right? And it's more than just the work that we're doing. So we're very committed to that model and that approach, so much so that we brought everybody back in July of 2020. July 2020, during COVID, it was only 3 months into it. But we said we'll follow CDC protocol meticulously, but we're not going to have people hanging out at home. We're going to have them in the office. It's served us very well.
I'm sure it has. The other challenge that my nephew had, not only dealing with supervisors that didn't understand the communication issue, were the coworkers. And so it made for a less than pleasant experience in some cases. How are you helping these employers? So now you're dealing with the supervisors, and you've got your project lead who's helping to move the projects forward. But what about their peers who are not neurodiverse?
Yeah, no, great question. So one of the things we do when we're setting up the project and the engagement is there's a very important step that we do with all of our customers. We have what are called neurodiversity and autism awareness and orientation training and sessions. So we go on site, or we do it through a Teams meeting or whatever it is, but we will train uh, the organization that we're going into so that there's some familiarity and techniques and tips and techniques to a first understand what neurodiversity is, understand what autism is, and secondly, help with guidance and tips techniques so that they know how to properly engage and support neurodiverse individuals. So that is an important step. Some people have a tremendous knowledge day one because they have a personal experience, that whether it's
Hmm.
a son or a daughter or a sibling
Hmm.
or whoever, right? And but there are others that,
Nephew, yep.
yeah, nephews, right? But you have a
Hmm.
personal
Hmm.
connection and you understand. But others have never had that exposure; they've only heard about it. So we have to bring
Hmm.
the whole organization along together.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, interesting. Well, and I'm so glad. So now, so you all are working predominantly in the tech space. My nephew has not been in that space. He's been more in the service sector. What advice would you have to those people that are not part of your project groups, other than joining your movement, right? Because I think that a lot of them want to bring these folks on board, but they struggle with that same thing, that communication issue. The supervisors don't know, the coworkers are not aware. Are there some tools and directions that you might suggest that they go to?
Well, we actually go pretty broad with the job offerings. Tech is a big piece of what we do, but we also have a lot of job opportunities that are less complex or less challenging, including
Mm.
data entry or digitizing documents through scanners, um, report validation, things that don't require near the level of skill or experience, but it allows us to accommodate a broader range of the spectrum, and which is really important because what happens is those individuals that thought they could only do something that's fairly simple, when their confidence level goes up, they end up doing and stretching themselves and doing things they never thought they could do before. We have so many examples of that. But the thing that I would recommend to individuals is whoever it is, whether it's the precisionists or wherever they go, they should try to figure out what their strengths are. That's what we do during that
Mhm.
3 to 4 week assessment is we help them understand what they're really good at. Because if they can do that, that's the first step towards finding something that they're going to like, and then having then if that happens, then they have a real shot at long-term sustainable employment.
Mhm. Again, same advice for every single human being in the world, right?
It is. It's actually what our education system should be all about as well, right? Is helping each kid figure out what they're really good at so that the rest of their life they can focus on it.
Sure, and same thing around learning modalities, right? We need to
Hmm.
adjust those as well. So, well, you have your goal to employ 10,000 neurodiverse professionals over the next few years. How's that goal going?
Well, I think we're making excellent progress. The first couple of years, we were just getting started, getting the first set of customers under our belts. And then COVID hits, but we continue to grow through COVID because we continue to do work in our facility. So our customers like that. And
Hmm.
and so we grew through COVID, and now we have these innovation technology centers, one in Phoenix, one in Nashville, Tennessee, Philadelphia, Wilmington, Delaware. We've got two more scheduled to open this year. The model's going across the country, and we're well on our way to our goal now. We're approaching 300, which we should be at by mid-year. And then I think, but the thing that's happened is that the growth now is really accelerating. We added over 100 people in 2022, and we're on that same kind of a growth path this year. It's actually even faster. So we're going to start to chip away at that goal, and I think we're well on our way as we continue to take this across the country.
Well, that's great. Well, I hope as a result of our podcast today that you'll get a few more folks to add to that. As I was learning more about you and the work that you've been doing, I saw the award that you received from the Autism Society of America, where they recognized TPI with the Adam, is it Heavner Award?
That's
For
right. That's
doing,
correct.
yep, for doing the most in the country to advance employment opportunities for autistic adults. And I thought you were in some very good company with Sesame Street and the Philadelphia Phillies. But when you receive these sorts of awards, I'm always curious, what went through your mind when you were informed that you were going to be receiving this honor?
What went through my mind was validation that this is really the right thing to be doing, because it's a horrible place to be where there's no hope, or there's an adult who's got incredible gifts, but they're in their parents' basement playing Xbox every day
Mm-hmm.
because they have nothing to look forward to, and they've kind of given up.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that individual then have a job, be successful at it, get promoted, then decide to go get their driver's license, because only 26% of individuals on the autism spectrum, for example, drive, for lots
Mm-hmm.
of different reasons, get their first apartment. It's to see the transformation that goes on in these individuals is really incredibly gratifying. But to do it with a business model that adds value, that's what all that award validated, all those things. That this is not a charity model. What we're doing is a performance model that's delivering great results. And at the same time, it's elevating a whole group of individuals into a whole different place in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I have a front row seat to the work that you're doing through my nephew. And, he's in his mid-20s, and to be able to see, he's moved forward, knocked back, moved forward, but his confidence level and is currently soaring. And actually, he is working with, like he's a caregiver for somebody who is severely on the autistic spectrum, nonverbal and whatnot. And he just loves it. And he too is feeling very confident and is attending driving school and has his permit, and so is practicing and looking forward to that adventure as well.
That is wonderful. That's wonderful.
I'm so proud of him. So as I said, I'm hoping that as a result of our conversation today, that there will be more people that are interested in joining your movement. So for those that are, what's the first step that they should do to join this movement?
Yeah, thank you. The best thing to do is go to our website, which is the precisionists.com. And it's the word precision with ISTS, plural, on the back end of precision. That's the website. And for candidates who are looking for employment, they can register what's called a statement of interest on our website, and our talent acquisition team will follow up with them very quickly and begin to talk to them about the employment process. And for customers, for companies that are interested in tapping into the neurodiverse talent, on the website as well is the info@theprecisionists.com email, and they can submit an inquiry there, and somebody from our business development team will follow up with them quickly as well. So there's really, whether it's a customer, a company, or a candidate, the entry point is both is at our website.
Great, great. So, Ernie, in closing, we've got a CEO on the fence right now who's listening to this podcast, and they're thinking, I don't know if I want to go down this path. What would you say to that CEO who's on the fence about employing neurodiverse professionals?
A couple of things. I would say, first of all, this is one of the biggest talent shortages we've faced in decades. And this is a completely untapped labor pool of very talented people. And so that represents a source of talent that could really help with the business challenges that CEO is facing. And the second thing is, I would say, talk to some of the companies who have already given us a try, like Comcast and DuPont and the state of Arizona and SRP. Great organizations that are already doing this, and talk to fellow CEOs and of those organizations. And I think the combination of those two things will get that person to take the leap of faith to give this a try.
Well, terrific. Well, Ernie, congratulations on the great work. I'm glad that you got called to this mission. I'm so thrilled to learn more about this. And I know that there are a lot of people that autism has touched their lives. I have several in my company alone. And, we work really hard to elevate the awareness of the importance of understanding autism, especially as April is National Autism Awareness Month. So thank you again for joining us today. And we look forward to directing people your way and helping more of our neurodiverse professionals to gain employment and reducing that underemployed and unemployed from 75 to 80 to 0.
Thank you, Kathleen. I really enjoyed the opportunity to do this with you today, and thank you for involving me.
You're very welcome. And that's it for this episode of Revolutionizing Recruitment. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, make sure you take a second to subscribe so you automatically get my new shows when they drop. Also, if you have a minute, I'd love if you left me a review so more folks like yourself can discover the show. Until next time, take care.
This has been Revolutionizing Recruitment with Kathleen Duffy. To connect with Kathleen or to learn more about recruitment research, go to duffygroup.com.